good. I'm glad to see you.
Not in those terms. Usually on human development stuff.
Oh, we can do that. Sure.
Yeah, the more you say, the better. Just keep talking.
They're not on the screen, so I have to do it by hand.
Where are you
You want me
gonna
to go through the models? Okay.
Where are you gonna? Where's your spot?
Probably over there with the model there.
Okay.
Gather around with your phone.
We're gonna go and play every single.
I'll find it. Not that many.
She can set this up. Yeah, because and then every yeah. Yeah, so perform. Dan, this is your.
Funny, my royalty check just hasn't come in yet.
Well, that comes after the race.
Yeah. Alright.
Thank you.
Yes, I know. These are like all right. Gather around. I'm on stage again. I never really believed in theater majors. I guess I should have taken a class in theater. Every class is theater, right? So let's go through it. So what's happening in this model? Fertilization. That's supposed to be a sperm, right, baby? Okay. And what's happening in this one? Cleavage. This one. Cleavage. This one. More cleavage. This one. More cleavage. So we're just dividing, right? So this one has a name. The raspberry is called a? Morula. No, morula. So morula is just the raspberry-looking thing. When you hollow out a morula like this, so it has an inside that's hollow, now you're something else. What are you now? Blastocyst, blastula, blastocyte. Pick a blast word, but that's a blastocyst in a person. Right? You'll notice there's a yellow thing at the bottom, which figure looks like this. What is that lower yellow area called? Not yet. Inner cell mass. It's the mass inside. Yay! Right. All right. So, what do you call this hollow space around the inner cell mass? Blastocyst cavity, or blastocele is a fancy word for it. No, it's just the non-yellow. It's just the space. It's actually hollow. Oh, the inner cell mass is that yellow and the red. Here it's yellow.
So what do you call that?
And here it's yellow. Blastocyst. Same. These are all blastocysts. Now, this blastocyst is actually growing feet. The feet are going to chew into mom. So what are those called? Trophoblast. That's the trophoblast where it's actually going to eat its way into mom's uterus, right? It's the one they implant. So, well, trophoblast is basically on the outside, but you could argue it's the feet, the bottom part. Right? So on this model, I have a blastocele or blastocyst cavity. I have the inner cell mass, which was the yellowy part, and I have the feet or the trophoblast. And this is week 1 from here to here. Make sense? Okay. So then we have some funny words. So to get to those funny words, we got to get you a little older. Let's go older. We'll make you a little older. So welcome to week 2. Right? So here you are. Green is mom's uterus. So you're embedded in mom. And then you have these little parts that are growing. So if you look on your list, we're supposed to find the deciduas. So decidua is the places where, that's kind of weird to explain this, but deciduas are the regions of where you're implanted. So the basalis is at the bottom, right? And if you look at the other word, capsularis is like the top, but it doesn't always mean top and bottom. It means mom and not mom, right? So to get your bearings, I make you older. Mom, the placenta, mom's uterus is up here. This is the part that's the furthest away from mom's uterus. So the basalis is mom's uterus over here. That's the base of you. The capsularis is the kind of part that's opposite that. So it's...
We have to have a model that shows that old...
Right, because you can't see necessarily on these ones. So another way to view it is on this model, which is much older. So if I pointed up here in the green, you would say that's the decidua basalis. That's mom's uterus where I'm plumbing in. If I pointed out here, you would say that's the capsularis. That's the not placenta, not mom side. Even though they're both mom, right? So it's just a region. It's like lower, upper, right? And there's decidua because they come out.
Is capsularis always lower?
It's always up. So if I held it like this, it'd be up here. It's always the part away from the placenta.
Okay.
Right? It's kind of how it's viewed. So then we have some stages. So on this stage, I'm making layers, right? So what do we call that magical time of making layers? Gastrulation. So that's the gastrula stage or gastrulation stage. So then we're supposed to know, bless you, the layers. So it makes a little more sense if I do it with this a little bigger. So if you look here, we have kind of three, well, two, you have two colors, but there's actually three layers. There's this yellow part, there's this red part, and there's this kind of thing in between the two, which they didn't actually color. This is the easy one. The one in between would be mesoderm. Then you have the ecto and endo. In this case, ecto is here, endo is there in this model.
How can we tell?
You just have to know.
By color.
Is it by color?
The color, but the colors are reversed in your picture, so it doesn't always mean by color. Usually ecto is near the placental end. Right.
Which is
Is echo usually smaller?
Which is up here.
Is there like any
Cell,
any
basal
cell
layer?
difference?
No, there's no cell difference.
Like by the base.
Yes, kind of up here. But different pictures will show it differently, so you don't want to get hung up like it's the yellow one on the left. Right? So, let's go through then and go down further. So now we have some spaces. So I'm going to zoom you ahead. Here you are. All right. So here's my skin. Oh, it's yellow, ectoderm, right? That's going to be the outside. So let's go through here. This space you're floating in, the hot tub you live in, is called your what? The fluid that breaks when you give birth is the amnion cavity. So this inside layer, that's the amnion with the fluid inside of it. So you're floating in a hot tub of an amnion, right? The outside, this grayish one that you see going around it, that's one that's going to glue in the mom. That's going to be called the chorion. So you have a chorion on the kind of outside of you. The little bubble where you live is the amnion. They're basically glued together. So the chorion amnion, the amnion would be this silvery color, kind of. And the chorion would be this, whatever, grayish color. So you have, those are the layers, right? Then you have this little red bucket here, which would be yellow in a chicken. You ate it for breakfast. That's the yolk sac. You have one. You just don't use it for that. And then there's a little teeny one they showed back here. That little funny hook at the end of the red, if you look down your list, they still have it? Yeah, that's the allantois, right? That's where your pee goes until you come out.
Is that where?
That little funny tip of the red. So in a chicken, they pee into this membrane called the allantois. You're a mammal, you don't need to, you give it back to mom. But that's what a holdover. So the allantois is another membrane. So you have four membranes. You have the chorion on the outside, the amnion under that, the yolk sac, which would be visible on this picture here, and then that allantois, which kind of disappears. So those are the four layers you would form as you're developing. So you lose the yolk sac and allantois as part of your umbilical cord, and the other two stay behind. But you still have to know where they are. So let's see. Oh, yes. Let's look at my chorion. Come to me. What do you know is sticking out of my chorion? Villi. Villus. Fingers. So what do you call the fingers sticking out of your chorion? Chorionic villi. So when they do CVS, that's what they're sampling are those fingers.
Those are sticking into mom.
Those are gluing into mom. So basically, surface area. You're trying to eat mom, so you're growing a basically villi into her, like your small intestine. Surface area for absorption. So we did that, 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 we did that.
What the last two?
Okay, those ones you have to actually look at the picture in your book because they don't show it really well in these models. But the syncytiotrichoblast, which I can never say correctly, that is back in the early stages. It's basically in this stage here. So they're talking between here and here. And those are just finding the regions of the gastrulation. So you're going to look in your book, and it's basically a different in function, not so much something I'm going to ask you. So I'm not going to ask you in a model for those two, but read about them. Right? They're not something easy I can show you. And then we got placenta. Let's find placenta. Come to me. All right, so whose placenta is this one? That's the fetal placenta, right? Because baby makes this. Attached to your belly button, it's yours. Right, so the umbilical cord goes to the fetal placenta. Where would the maternal placenta be? That's the uterus. That's what you leave behind when you give birth. You leave mom's placenta behind and take yours with you. Right, so there's a fetal side and the maternal side. So on this model, that's fetal because the belly button's glued to it. This is fetal. On this model here, my British accent, we have both of them. Okay, belly button's up here, so this is fetal side. So these going down are fetal. This part is whose? Those are maternal going up. So they're like two fingers, like this. So fetal and maternal are growing into each other.
So that's whole red band is maternal.
Right, so this is your uterus down here. And these little fingers going up are your placenta as a mother. And these things going down are fetal placenta as a baby. And they interdigitate. Right, so fetal placenta on top, maternal placenta. And then you have these fingers. These are the chorionic villi. Those are the fingers babies growing into mom are these funny looking things. Right?
So the fetal placenta is the one that comes out
Yes.
after.
Yeah. So after birth, you take your placenta with you. You don't
What
need it
about
anymore.
with a cat when they give birth to like 5 kittens? Is there 5?
Depends. Some mammals share one placenta,
Oh.
but usually not. Usually each one would have their own placenta. Right? And they kind of comes out as a condyloid.
Oh, it's like one.
Yeah. So they'll have a different region. And then some mammals actually have separate placenta, separate umbilical cords. Some actually will merge into one placenta. Depends how you twin. But I'm not real up on my rodents. They have a different thing. Rodents have a forked vagina, so I'm not sure how they do placenta. But worth a trivia at a party, right? Platypus has a forked penis. Right?
So the maternal placenta stays behind. It's just basically part of your uterus.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so it turns back into.
It's endometrium, and then you just flush out your next menstrual period. Right. So the thing we have to do on this model is, some different things. So, chorionic villi coming down. What do you call this space between the villi? Is it on there? Intervillous spaces. That's where the exchange is happening between mom's and baby's fingers. So, gee, what do we call the region that mom's placenta would be at? That'd be the decidua, what? That's the decidua basalis. That's the region that you're growing in the mom. Is down here. So you have the decidua basalis, intervillous space, and the chorionic villi. Let's see what else we got. Don't cord you know. Arteries and veins you got. I think you know the rest of them.
And then
I think that's it.
here we had fetus and embryo, and that's just the difference in numbers.
Yep, so this is fetus.
After 9 weeks.
This is not. Embryo, fetus.
It's 9 weeks, the differentiation.
Yep, always, always. So you're older than 9 weeks, you're a fetus. Ah, they're so cute. I missed that age. I missed that age. Yep. That's it. That's the sac.